Welcome back.
My name's Phil.
And I'm Steve, and this is Streaming Things. And you guys might have heard something. Chris didn't open up the show, but we have a new host, everybody. It's not Madison. It's not Chris. It's not even Andy, that sumbitch. It's my best friend, Phil.
Hi, streaming thingerinos.
Maybe one of the best introductory moments ever.
Everybody's turned this off immediately.
If you guys don't know, Phil is my best friend. I've known him for many, many years. I'm pretty sure our relationship can vote. It can.
Yes, it can vote. It can't drive yet.
It can't drive.
No.
It can't drive? It can't rent a car.
Sorry, it can't drink. My bad.
Oh, it can't drink.
It can't drink in the United States, which is where we're located.
That is a very good distinction. Yeah. But we've known each other a long time. You guys have probably heard me talk about Phil a lot. He does a lot of the photography work we have for the show.
That's me.
He's a very talented dude. He's also a huge fan of the movie studio A25.
What's up, Chris?
But Phil, a couple years ago, we're here to talk about Star Trek.
Star Trek Strange New World, Season 2.
Strange New World, Season 2. Can you briefly kind of go and tell the listener why you're on this show about Star Trek? If our humble beginnings is in the wars, how do we get into the Trek?
Well, feel free to jump in here because I don't know exactly where you jumped in on this, but Star Trek has been kind of in the background of my life the entire time I've been aware of movies and film, but never really got into it. And then during the pandemic, I was like, you know what? I just kind of want to watch, I want to watch a show that like transports me away from all of whatever's going on, i.e. COVID-19, world shutdown, all that stuff. So
the happiest of times.
The best of times.
The best of times.
It was the worst of times and also the worst of times. So I was like, what can I get into that has a lot of it and is nothing like what I'm currently dealing with, i.e. pandemic. And I was like, I should watch Star Trek. I love science fiction.
Yeah.
It's always been part of the zeitgeist. It's always in the background, but I've never really given it a shot. So I started watching it and I got really into it, like absolutely absorbed. Didn't watch anything else. I watched it pretty much every day nonstop for like a year and a half. Because there's so much of it. There's
there's
decades.
like half a century of Star Trek at this point, basically.
Absolutely. So started with Deep Space Nine, went on to TNG, went on to Voyager.
Make it so.
But then Strange New Worlds came out, Season 1. And I was like, I should look at what New Trek looks like. And it was amazing. I loved it.
Did you watch Strange New Worlds before Disco?
I did.
Okay.
Because Strange New Worlds was my first foray into New Trek at that point. So I was like, I should watch this. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Ate it up. And then as a result of that, because for anybody who's seen Season 2 of Star Trek Discovery, Captain Pike and Spock and the crew are on that season. So I was
Una's
like,
on that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, ooh, I should watch Discovery. But that wasn't until Season 2. So I went back and watched Season 1. I loved that. And
Very different Trek.
Yeah, extremely different, but like great in its own way. And then I watched Season 2, loved it. Season 3 and 4. So, and then of course we got into Lower Decks. As you can see my shirt.
Oh, Cerritos strong, baby.
Yeah. So all caught up now on all new Treks. Ironically, the only Treks I haven't watched are the original series. Seen a few of the movies. Unfortunately,
you've watched all the movies, haven't you?
No.
Oh, okay.
I skipped the first one because of it's like one of those things where like everybody says it's bad, and I'm gonna watch it at some point.
There's only so much time in a day. No. If you know something's bad, why put yourself through that?
And I haven't seen Star Trek Prodigy, which is the animated, like more geared toward a younger audience. So
is that the one with Janeway?
Yeah.
I've always like seen that advertised, like it'll come up on my queue on like Netflix or Paramount Plus, and I'm like, do I?
It's one of those things where like after I've gotten through all of the other Treks and I have nothing else to watch Trek wise, I'll probably dip into it. Now I've heard it's good.
Yeah.
But Picard, of course. Watched that.
Yeah.
Which, if you're a patron of the show, Steve and I talked a bit about on an
after hours.
episode.
If you can go onto Patreon, and we do things called after hours, which are meant to be like behind the scenes. We talk about whatever we want kind of shit.
Yeah.
And Phil came on for one of those, and he and I talked about season 3 of Picard, which was awesome.
Yeah.
So check that out if you haven't watched that. So I actually, growing up,
what's your background on it?
yeah, for me, growing up, Star Trek was always one of those things where, this might be apocryphal, but Star Wars was always my first sci-fi love, right? And so growing up, you probably remember, at least like in the 90s, late 80s and throughout the 90s, there was this sort of like stupid little nerd war that happened. Like you have to be a Star Wars fan or a Star Trek fan. There's these colors don't run, baby. It's one of those type of things. And so growing up, I had that mindset like, I don't watch that nerd shit called Star Trek. I watch the nerd shit with a laser sword and a moon that shoots lasers and blows up planets.
Right.
But growing up, I did from every now and then. Do you remember UPN?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The channel. I remember UPN.
That's where Voyager and Enterprise aired.
Yeah, 100%. But growing up, like in the late 90s and early 2000s, UPN would air reruns of TNG.
Yeah.
And so The Next Generation was like my first real experience into Star Trek. I didn't watch it like straight through, but if it was on, I found myself watching it because like I loved Jean-Luc Picard and Worf and Data and Riker and Deanna Troi and Beverly. I loved all those people. Oh, and Geordi. Can't forget Geordi. But so
Spot the cat. Come on, jeez.
I love you, Spot. So that was always my first Trek. So
Dr. Pulaski.
I forgot about Dr. Pulaski. Yeah, was that season?
We all do.
Two? Yeah. So you got into Star Trek around 2020. That's all you were watching.
Yeah.
We would hang out and you'd be like, I really want to talk about Star Trek with somebody, but no one's watching.
None of my friends watched it.
No one's watching these 20-year-old shows. So I made a New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
Was that the year
30-year shows? But
2022?
2022. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 2022. My New Year's resolution was to watch as much Star Trek as I could. Yeah. And in that time, I watched all of Next Generation, which was the first time I had actually sat down and watched every single episode back, like in order.
Yeah.
I watched
4 seasons of Voyager.
4 seasons of Voyager. I watched all of Discovery.
Yep.
I
Strange
watched
New Worlds.
the first season of Picard, the first season of Strange New Worlds.
Now, wait. You didn't watch the first season of Picard. You
I watched the first like 3 episodes. Yeah, I watched the first 3 episodes of Picard and realized it was not for me.
No.
But I still have not seen season 2.
You don't need to.
I just watched a recap of both and then watched season 3. And season 3 is amazing. But yeah, the first 2 seasons are like, holy shit, how did they get that wrong?
Dog shit.
Wow. But I loved everything else. Like I love Voyager. I love Discovery. I loved everything. I still need to finish Discovery. I still need to watch Deep Space Nine because that's like the best one.
That is the best Trek
from what everyone says.
Yeah.
So it's it's a fan base I'm relatively new at. I'm pretty like passionate about it. Like I just want to consume it as much as I can. If it wasn't for this podcast, I'd be doing what you were doing 2 years ago and just watching Star Trek.
Yeah.
But as listeners know, if it ain't for the show, I don't watch it. Because such is my life now.
Poor Steve.
So that's why I like when Chris is like, what do we want to cover in the summer? Like Strange New Worlds. I want to watch Strange New Worlds. That's the one I want to watch, Strange New Worlds. And some people might be kind of disappointed that Chris isn't joining us.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm a bad substitute for Chris.
No. So the original plan, just so you guys know, the original plan was to have myself as sort of like, my typical dick and fart joke guy. Phil would be the expert on Trek, the Trekspert. And And Chris would be the person who knows nothing about Star Trek, and we would get like the complete new person's view on every episode, which would be, I thought that would be a really fun dynamic.
Yeah.
And he was super into it and super down. And he really wanted to do it. But Star Trek Strange New Worlds debuts on Thursdays.
Yeah.
And that's like the one day of the week that Chris cannot record because he has to go to, he's a big dick TikTok star now. So he has to go to like movie openings on Thursdays and review them for TikTok. So
I'm glad he's doing that instead of this, because that is going to be much more, much better for Chris.
Much better for Chris. He will be less confused.
Yeah.
He'll be less
and enjoy himself more.
Yeah, he'll enjoy himself. It won't be just every episode of him going, the fuck is up with the phasers? So does he do hyperspace? What the fuck is this? So Spock underacting or overacting or not acting? What's he doing?
Right. No, Chris is doing the best Chris thing.
Yeah.
And try to do as good of a job as we can with this. Well, me, you're a pro. So
well, thank you. I wouldn't say that, but I love your commitment to the A24 hat bit.
It's A25.
Oh, sorry. Is that your favorite movie studio?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I almost called you Chris because it's just so.
You can
old.
call me Chris.
Well, not Chris. What Strange New Worlds?
Yeah.
Season 1. Mm-hmm. Overall, the season ended last year.
Yeah.
What are your overall thoughts on the show of Strange New Worlds going in to the second season?
Well, like I said, I loved Strange New Worlds season 1. I thought it was the strongest first season of Star Trek of any series that they've made in the last several decades. It's near perfect in my mind.
Is it almost as perfect as Anson Mount's hair?
No,
That's too perfect.
That's on another level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
How does Anson Mount's Captain Pike kind of rank in your pantheon of captains?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a tough. We're starting off hot, baby.
You know what? This is probably controversial because my first captain was Ben Sisko, and he is my default. Like, he's the man because he's the first one for me. I think he's a better captain than Picard is.
Sisko?
Yeah. But
Picard makes some peculiar decisions sometimes.
Picard's a bit odd. I think he's a great captain, but I don't think he's the best one. I do think Pike has the potential to be number one because he leads by example. He's understanding. He's flexible. That's the thing. Like,
have you seen him do stretches? My God, dude can touch his toes, his chin.
Yep, his downward dog specifically, unreal.
Man,
no cap as well. Maybe Archer, but
yeah, Archer doesn't mean downward dog.
Yeah. No, I honestly think Pike might be the best captain just because he's somebody that I could see myself getting a beer with and taking orders from without second guessing it. And
he cooks for you.
Yeah,
he would cook you a meal.
He's an affable guy. He makes good choices. He is diplomatic over violent, but he's also not opposed to punching some faces if he needs to.
I'm not opposed to punching some faces.
Yeah. He's funny.
He's very funny.
He's just so we did get a glimpse at the end of season 1. He essentially tries to alter his future and inadvertently makes really bad decisions that end up essentially kickstarting a massacre between the Romulan Empire and the Federation. So obviously he's not perfect. The man didn't make great choices in that alternate future. Thankfully,
not everyone can be William Riker.
Right. Thankfully, though, that was all just a vision of the future and not the actual future for him in this timeline. So
I love a sci-fi Ghost of Christmas Past episode. Those are always fun.
Yeah, as long as they don't go back in time, and it's just like a vision of the future, like
Vision quest.
Yeah. So yeah. So but how do you feel about him?
Oh, I love him. I love Anson Mount. He's everything you just said and more. And plus, he just has that hair. Strange New Worlds to me, like the thing I gravitated most towards Strange New Worlds is like the cast is obviously great. I mean, Captain Pike being a standout, Spock being another standout. I really love his portrayal by Ethan Peck. I think those are big shoes to fill when you're stepping into a legendary character like Spock when, he's initially played by Leonard Nimoy. And also Zachary Quinto was also pretty good at him. But I love what he's doing. I think it's more subtle than Zachary Quinto Spock was in some ways, but he's so funny. Yeah. Without like really eliciting any emotion, he can be so funny. And then,
I also think that speaks to the script though, too. Like
100%. Yeah.
People writing for Spock get it and also are legitimately good at injecting the seed for him to, I don't know. Sprout. Yeah.
Spock sprout.
Yeah.
and to your point, the writers are really good at like breathing life into these characters because you got like Uhura's always fun to be around. Oh, yeah. Is it Lieutenant Singh? Is she Lieutenant? Yeah.
Yep, she is.
Ortegas. I love Ortegas. She's like one of my favorite helmsmen.
She is my favorite person on the bridge that's not Pike.
Yeah. So. Same. She's so funny. Yeah. Babs, who plays Mbega.
Yeah, Mbenga.
I could listen to that guy read a dictionary and I would just melt. Like, please, Babs, read this to me, please. And that, Nurse Chapel's a great addition. Like that, talk about a character that wasn't really a character based off the original. Because a lot of these characters were in the original pilot for the original series.
As I understand it, Pike was the original captain in the first episode, and then they brought in Kirk for the actual start of the series.
But I think the pilot or maybe the test episode that they shot had like a Nurse Chapel character and all that.
Played by Majel Barrett, who played Lwaxana Troi in Next Gen.
Your favorite character of Trek, Lwaxana Troi.
Yeah, Lwaxana Troi.
Well, I mean, I love the first season. I really love the style of Stranger Worlds. I think the ship, the Enterprise, is like the sleekest, coolest. Like, I just want to hang out in that ship. It cool. Has fireplaces. Come on.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Pike's quarters are obnoxiously big.
I want to live there. Yeah, it's space, but they're like, let's give the captains like a 3-story loft.
He's got a like 3,000 square foot of that ship locked down just for him.
Yeah,
and it's like, come on.
And at least he invites people to cook meals for him.
Yeah,
he's pretty good. Dude.
He's the best captain.
He deserves all that space.
Picard never wanted anybody in his space.
Yeah, he would be like, everyone leave outside. I'm gonna go play on my flute. I miss my family.
I think Picard would have Vash over, and then he would have Beverly over for breakfast.
Oh yeah, they always had breakfast together.
Yeah. But aside from that, like not too many other times.
Picard inviting Worf to his quarters, like, so Worf,
do you want to hang out?
What do you do? What's cracking? I don't know, Captain. Well, with that, Phil, let's get these officers on deck.
Love it.
Let's talk about Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 2, Episode 1, titled The Broken Circle, directed by Chris Fisher and written by Akilah Goldsman and Alex Kurtzman. Kurtzman. I misspelled that in my notes.
That's okay.
That's going to happen a lot. Like, one of the funny things, like, so Phil and I just watched it. We literally just finished watching this episode, came in here, turned the mics on. And a real funny thing was, it's Star Trek, it's sci-fi. So there's a lot of goofy, made up words, made up names. It was really funny to see what my iPad would autocorrect people's names to.
Yeah.
And we may or may not go by those names from here on out. Just saying.
We will introduce them first the right way and then use the auto-corrected term after that.
Exactly. But Phil, the
Yeah.
Enterprise
Yeah.
is in space dock at Starbase 1.
Which we just saw destroyed in Picard season 3.
R.I.P.
So
Simpler
it was
times.
like, oh damn, this is
Yeah.
this is awkward.
Well, no one knows what's coming for
Yeah.
them in what, like 50, 70 years? I forget.
Oh, this is 100 plus
100
years.
plus
yeah.
years. All right. But something is in the air.
Yes.
All right. Oh my God. Right off the bat, it Pike.
Yeah.
It auto-corrected Pike to Coke.
Wow, great. Pike is an actual
I know,
word.
that's an
I don't know
actual
why
word.
it's
Maybe I misspelled it, and whatever my misspelling was like Coke, the classic taste. But Pike is on a FaceTime call with Una. Last season, she was taken away by Starfleet for being
an Illyrian.
Illyrian.
Yeah, that's a big no-no.
Why is it a big no-no?
Genetic modification is a really big no-no for the Federation. They don't want people to be genetically modified, and Illyrians are. So
They're all about that life.
yeah,
They're like, can I need to get that edge.
Yeah.
I need to be better, faster, stronger, hornier. They
Yes.
want it all.
yeah.
Then nothing will
Specifically
stop
that
them.
last part.
That last, they definitely want that last part. But Pike's telling Una, like, hey, you can't resign. That the loss would be unimaginable to the Enterprise. And so he is going to travel all the way across the galaxy to talk to, I didn't catch the name of the person's kind of, that he's
Yeah, I
going to
missed
appeal
that
to
part.
get her.
It's a
her
lawyer
release.
of some sort.
It's a lawyer.
Yeah,
It's like
Pretty sure it was,
like,
right?
It's like space Johnny Cochran.
right.
He's like, you ain't getting out of here.
Yeah, but she's like, hey, it's going to take you 3 days to get the door slammed in your face. And he jokes like, oh, well, 2.5 by the new ship.
On the new ships.
Yeah. So
We
That was
we know that Pike loves the new toys.
he loves it.
I get it. So he puts Spock as acting captain, and he Spock's a little reserved about it. He says they're lacking a chief engineer and a head of security because
Hemmer
Lieutenant-
died.
Yeah, he died. Which what a bummer.
I know.
He was maybe my favorite character from the first season. I
Yeah,
love
he
that
ruled.
dude.
Yeah.
And Singh is going off on Gorn adventures.
Yes. Specifically to find the parents of Oriana who survived on the ship in episode 9 with the Gorn.
Yeah, that was like that horror episode that
one of the best ones of the
that
last
was,
season.
That was fun.
Super cool.
That was fun. Every time, not James T. Kirk, but his brother Kirk.
Sam Kirk. Yeah.
Kirk. Every time that guy's on screen, I'm just like,
He's the best.
He's gonna bite it. I know he's gonna fucking eat
I love
shit.
that guy.
And he eats shit almost every episode he's in, but like I always expect him to die.
Yeah. Yep.
But he's still with us.
Yep.
Thankfully so.
Still kicking.
But Spock, he's feeling a little nervous. Maybe his emotions are getting the better of him. His human half is getting the better of him.
Because he let loose in that Gorn episode.
Gotta let loose.
Yeah. Because he saw, I forget the name of the guy. He had just been promoted and it was his first away mission. And he got taken by the Gorn and
He got gorned.
got Gorned. And Spock let loose. And
Spock amok.
and as M'Benga told him, like, hey man, you took down the barrier that Vulcans spend a long time building to control your emotions, because Vulcans feel more intensely than we do, but they're extremely adept at controlling it. But because Spock let loose in that episode, he's now sort of his logic is compromised when it comes to his emotions now. So he's dealing with some stress.
Yeah. I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there. I've also let loose from time to time.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've seen me. There was a party years ago where I just let loose so
Is
much.
this the tape man?
And
one?
my inner tape man came out, and it took me like 3 days to stuff him back inside.
We should talk about that on a Patreon episode sometime, because I think people would like that.
Yeah, if you guys want to hear about Tape Man, let me know. It's a real thing I did when I was way too drunk.
Got pictures of that.
So M'Benga offers him like a very human therapy, and he pulls out the space loot.
Why was that in sick bay? We're not sure.
He's like, hold on, I got something in the medical supplies closet. Loot.
Pulls out this beautiful wooden loot.
And there was an officer in the background that just shouted, "Free bird."
What was the name of the song that Deanna Troi tried to get Riker to play? Oh, Nightbird.
Nightbird.
Yeah.
And
Sorry.
he never would play it.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet if Spock just started belting out Nightbird on a lute. I did like the line where Mbega asked Spock, like, do you like music? And he's like, Vulcans study it for mathematical properties.
Yeah. I love that part. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
And his heart rate seems to kind of lower when he's sort of fiddling. He's noodling with the lute. Yeah. But then Nurse Chapel walks in and his heart rate goes through the roof.
Do you ship Chaphawk / Spapple?
Is that what their shipping name is called?
That's what I'm calling them.
I like Spapple.
Spapple?
Spapple.
Spackle.
Spackle.
Yeah.
Spackle.
Do you ship those two?
I do.
Okay.
Hard. Right. Am I not? Is that not a popular thing to ship?
Probably. I don't know. I don't.
All right. Let me put it on the record. Everybody, look at me in the eye right now. If you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, look me right in the eye right now. I fuck with that couple. All right. I want them to be together so hard. I don't. You can at me all you want. Fuck T'Pring.
Poor T'Pring.
She doesn't love Spock for
she's
every
a good
bit of him.
Vulcan.
Sure, she's a good Vulcan, but is she the best Vulcan for Spock?
Maybe not. I don't think Spock belongs with a Vulcan.
He's too, he needs
a nice nurse.
He needs a nice nurse to take care of him, that lonely boy.
Yes.
With mommy issues. I do like that when M'Benga sees his heart rate go up, he does the classic fascinating Vulcan catchphrase.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. But Chapel's thinking about leaving. Spock leaves in a huff. Chapel's thinking about leaving. I think they obviously like each other, but they can't be together because Spock is with T'Pring, his fiancée.
Yep.
And so she wants to apply for this position that'll take her 2 months out of the Enterprise.
On Vulcan to do archaeology or archaeological medicine. What was it?
What is archaeological medicine?
Probably just...
Can you believe this? They took a thing called...
Whatever we're doing now.
Ibuprofen.
Yeah.
Ibuprofen. What a weird thing the ancients did.
I didn't write down exactly what she was going away for, but I know it had something to do with archaeology and with her being a nurse.
It makes it be archaeological medicine.
Maybe so, yeah.
So...
What I loved about the next scene, though, is that Ortegas has completely customized the controls.
She's pimped her Enterprise.
And the inspector's like, oh, your controls are messed up. And she's like, no. Like, I know what I'm doing. This is the optimal way to fly this ship.
Yep.
This is the right way. And he sort of scoffs and
Dude, these inspectors... What a bunch of squares.
I think they actually mentioned that there are more inspectors on the ship at that point than crew.
What are they doing?
They're inspecting the ship.
It seems like literally every crew member is probably having this exact scenario play out, like fucking Boimler's in the lower deck, and then inspector's like, is that how you scrub the holodeck filters?
Yeah, just inspectors getting in the way of everybody trying to do their job.
Yeah, it's annoying. And it happens to Uhura. They want to reboot.
She is not about that inspector at all.
No.
She's like, I'm trying to do my job here. Like, can you get out of my face?
Has that ever happened to you? Because like if you're at a cubicle at work and there's just some sort of inspector or supervisor that's hovering and you're like, can you go? I got a system here.
What drives me nuts is when I'm trying to shoot on an event and a guy comes up to me and he wants to ask me about
the camera,
and how to shoot and stuff. And in any other situation, I'd be like, yes, let's chat. But because I'm there to do a job and I'm being paid to do a job, I'm like, no, not the time, man. Can you not?
You ever shoot on a red?
Yeah.
Fucking hate that question so much.
The people asking me about that don't know what a red is.
That's true.
So.
That's true. You're just like, oh, I got a Polaroid.
Oh, I got a cool pics at home. Is that good? Sure, buddy.
What lens you got? A 54D? Yeah, totes.
Yeah.
But while she's kind of shooing the inspector away, she gets a signal. It seems like it might be important.
Yeah.
But we cut to Spock, as the subtitles say, gracefully tuning his lute.
Yes.
Uhura wants to talk with Spock. Apparently, there's a distress signal from the catchphrase system.
Yeah.
Which my iPad auto-corrected to the fajita system. So,
which is what we're going to call it from now on.
From now on, they're going to the fajita system.
Yeah, they're going to fajita.
Because goddamn, I want to go to the fajita system.
I also love this scene because Spock is still super stressed out. And when she shows up to his room, Spock gives her the whole like, could this have been an email? And she's like, no, this is important. I need to speak to you face to face. But I just love, like, I've never identified more with Spock in that moment. Like, I get it, man. Like, not everything has to be a call or a face to face. It can be an email.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But Spock kind of gets the important players together that are left on the ship.
Yeah.
The distress call came from Lieutenant Singh. And he wants to go help her out, but they're under space dock and they can't, under orders, they're not supposed to leave.
Right.
So he wants to have an Enterprise heist, basically.
Yep.
Because the fajita system is this planet that's sort of like, you know, for 30 days, Starfleet kind of patrols it, and then there's a shift change and the Klingons patrol it for 30 days, and it's part of this like agreement from the past Klingon war that they have they have this timeshare with each other where like I get it on weekends, you get it on the weekdays.
Right.
And he doesn't want them going out, Admiral April that is, doesn't want them going out there to potentially start a war because it is not Starfleet's turn to be there in the fajita system.
Yeah. Yep.
But Spock's like, hey guys, this is the deal. We're going to steal the Enterprise. Yeah. I'm not going to ask you to do it because you all will be in super big trouble. Who's with me?
And Mitchell's like, hey, I'll go down to the warp core right now.
Oh, Mitchell's ride or die.
Sabotage it.
And she is ride or die. She's like, I didn't have hardly any lines in the first season. This is my fucking chance to step up and do some shit. Yeah.
Starting off strong.
I like that. I like that gumption.
Yeah.
I like that gumption.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Cut back to the bridge and Inspector Pelia comes in, played by Carol Kane, and she sniffs out the whole thing like that.
She's too smart.
Yeah. And Spock, being a Vulcan, cannot lie. So she's like, hey, man, I know what you're doing. You're doing it the wrong way, though. If you really want to steal the ship, you need to do it this specific way. And I forget the Trekno-babble, but it involved venting something out of the nacelles.
You have to vent ionized plasma from the warp nacelles.
There you go.
Which, by the way, so I assume she's going to take over as the engineer for this season.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this brand new character?
So she's got a crazy accent right off the bat. I was like, oh, what is this? I'm not so sure about this.
She comes on strong.
She comes on very strong. But within 30 seconds, you realize she's on their team. And I thought she was a treat at that point. And I'm really interested in another specific aspect of her character that we'll probably get to toward the end of the discussion.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. As soon as she started talking, that thick accent came out. And for whatever reason, my first thought was like, oh no, Loxana Troy. I don't know why that character popped up in my head, but like you said, within 30 seconds, like she's really funny and spry. And
she's endearing.
She seems like completely unlike any of the other characters on the ship in like a good way. Like I can't wait to see her interact with Pike one-on-one or with Singh one-on-one. Just like this elder kooky lady who's just there to fuck shit up, right?
She mentions that she hasn't been out on an adventure essentially in 100 years. And Ortegas is like, all right.
No, you're all bad.
Yeah, like, come on. And she's like, no, like, I honestly have not been out in a long, long, long time. And they piece together that she's a Lanthanite. And we'll learn more about the Lanthanites toward the end of the episode. But
Now, so again, pretty new Star Trek fan. Been watching for like a solid year and a half, almost 2 years at this point.
Yeah.
Lanthanite didn't.
This is new.
It's new? Okay. All right. I wanted to make sure.
As far as I know, this is new. And it's one of those things where I wonder if it's like a way to retcon certain holes in past Trek canon. I don't know specifically what holes they would use, but it seems like a thing that they're going to use to potentially write some backstory into.
I can see them easily being able to do this because they have a line towards the end of the episode that's like, the Lanthanites integrated themselves in human culture for hundreds of years before being found out.
Right.
Because they look like they pass for human. Yeah. They just don't. Yeah. They just live forever practically, essentially.
Right. I guess they're like elves. Unless they're killed, they can't die.
Like kooky elves.
Yeah, right.
They're just like, she's like, I know Elron.
Yeah.
You want to go to Rivendell? Sorry, we're mixing fantasy.
Yeah, whoops.
So they bust out.
Yeah.
Of space dock.
We this cut to the really cool shot of the Enterprise leaving space dock. I couldn't believe how nimble it looked.
Yeah, these are enormous ships. They're giant like battle cruisers essentially, but they're nimble as hell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just like the way it pulled away and just turned. It just looked so good. Like the CGI in this show is incredible.
It's so good.
They're like modern Star Trek has an incredible team behind their like space CGI scenes specifically. It always looks so good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's they have a great team working for them there. So they bust out. We see the admirals kind of sitting at the conference room like, oh no, the Enterprise is leaving.
Yeah.
I love that conference room because it's just like, it seems like such a waste of space.
Yeah.
Because just a table and then vast nothingness and then glass that looks out into space.
Yeah.
Like you could fit maybe, I don't know, 350 conference tables in that space that they're sitting in. And you never see the opposite side. Like you don't see where they're coming in from. I love it. Because that's where Pike negotiated an alliance with, was it, it wasn't Tellarites. But in the first season, he negotiated like a whole piece.
The first episode.
The empathetic species.
Yeah.
Empathetic, am I saying that right?
Empathic?
Empathic?
Yeah.
Okay. He did that. So they go to Warp Factor 5.
Yeah.
And one of the best moments of the episode, Ortegas leans over because Spock's like, we're ready to take the ship out. We're going into Warp Factor 5. She's like, all right, you got to say your thing. What's your thing? And he's like, what do you mean? Well, every captain has a thing. Pike says, hit it.
Mitchell says that one of the captains she worked under before said, Zoom? What the hell is that? Like, imagine a captain's like, okay, let's Zoom. Like, it's just a terrible catchphrase.
I like to imagine it was a captain with a little bit of like zest and like Zoom to the stars.
I like to imagine it was not
to fun.
A native speaking, like a Federation standard speaking species who the universal translator may have mixed up what they were trying to say, and it translated it into Zoom.
What are some other ones that captains do?
Well, so Ortega said
Vamonos.
Vamonos.
That's the one she's workshopping,
which like is actually pretty good. Yeah,
Vamonos. Yeah. That's dope.
Yeah,
I want the sequel to Strange New Worlds where she's a captain and she's telling people to Vamonos. That's dope.
Yeah.
But what Picard said engage.
Yeah. Burnham said let's fly.
Let's fly. What did Janeway say?
Hit
it? No.
Do it.
Do it?
Yeah.
Do the thing.
Do it.
Well, if you were captain, what would your thing be?
Oh God. Come back to me on that, because I've thought about this a lot and I haven't come up with it yet.
For a second I thought your thing was just come back to me.
Come back to me.
It would just warp off.
I don't know. It would probably be something like,
let's go.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Captain Mario of the USS Enterprise.
Yes. What would yours be?
Oh, what would mine be? Mine would be, let's shag ass.
Let's shag ass?
Yeah, let's shag ass.
What the hell? Why?
Why are you questioning my thing?
I'm sorry.
It's my thing. I'm going to sit in a captain's chair. I'm going to look my crew member right in the eye and say, let's shag ass. It's either okay.
Well,
so actually, in real life, I say this pretty often, where I say, "Let's blow this popsicle stand."
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe that'll be my thing. Like, let's blow this popsicle stand.
Yeah.
But we'll come back to you.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe by the end of the season, you'll have one.
Yeah. That's a good. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's
by
put a pen
episode 10, I will have my catchphrase down.
Oh, stay tuned.
No pressure.
It's not going to be let's shag ass, but
I mean, it might be. maybe it'll just be. Let's shag ass.
Yeah, 9 episodes from now, you're like, I finally have a thing. It's let's shag ass. I came up with it myself.
Okay.
But so Spock has his thing.
Yeah.
And in pure amazing Spock fashion, I love the way they film this. It's like you get some close-up shots of him holding the arms of the chair.
Yeah.
He's getting ready. It's his moment. It's his time in the chair, his time to shine. And he goes, I would like the ship to go now.
It's so Spock. I love it. It's so perfect.
Because he has this glint in his eyes where Spock is like, I'm fucking nailing this.
I'm in the captain's chair. I'm a big man right now doing a catchphrase.
I just did a catchphrase.
Yeah.
Everyone is going to be so hyped about it.
Yeah. No, it's great.
Did you like his thing?
Yeah.
I love it.
It's great. Also, Ortega says no press, which I liked.
No press.
I don't know why I like that, but it was just fun. She was like,
she has
no press.
She has some great lines. Like, I know in the first season, she's like, hey man, whatever tweaks your freak. Like, I don't know why I like that line.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, on Fajita, the Klingons are drinking and they look rad.
Man. So
preach, man. I want to hear this gospel from you.
So when Discovery debuted, they changed the look of the Klingons, which some people didn't like. I didn't mind it as much, but we haven't seen like a TNG era Klingon since Star Trek Nemesis, with the exception of Worf in this last season of Picard. But that's Worf.
Yeah, it's
like
Worf.
I want to see what other Klingons look like, because I know what Worf looks like.
They look so fun.
Yeah,
you got those big ridges and like some form of crazy facial hair.
Yeah, so it was really nice to see like high def Klingons in what I consider to be like the look of Klingons.
Yeah, because Disco infamously changed their whole design.
Yeah.
And then even in the J.J. Abrams movies, there were Klingons in Into Darkness, Star Trek Into Darkness, but they looked kind of goofy and weird. They look more like Romulans to me than Klingons. But
yeah, that's another timeline. So I don't even like lump that in with this. But yeah, but it was really great to see that style back again.
Well, Singh is having a drinking competition with a Klingon named Kradah.
Yeah.
Kradog?
Sure.
Kradah. He's gagging. He can't hang. He can't hang with Lieutenant Noonien Singh.
What a patak.
Looks like you can't handle your gah. So after she swiftly vanquishes him, a new challenger approaches, but there's some sort of like deal happening where Singh wants to meet Greynax.
Yeah.
But Greynax may not want to meet with you, human.
Yes.
And as that sort of like intermediary leaves, he's like, hey, don't forget Kradah. He's on the ground. And then that Edie Mary's like, I don't even know that fucking guy. And just keeps walking.
Meanwhile, La'an sees M'Benga across the way, and he gives her a little motion to come with him.
He's like, you got something on your eye.
And then they have a little meeting in the woods where La'an drops a bomb about how ex-Federation and ex-Klingon extremists want to reignite the Klingon War.
You know, I really like the fact that all it took for two sides to come together was to just be extremists who want a war.
Yeah. Nothing brings people together like a mutual hate Trid.
Yeah.
I guess that's
history.
at least how they're doing it.
Yeah, that's history, baby.
Yeah. So
That's me every time I go into Chipotle. I'm just like, there's a mutual hatred here. I don't
With
like
who?
you. You don't like me. Chipotle.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Like, I don't like you. You don't like me, but we're here.
Oh, the food.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
No, Mr. Chipotle.
Like I was thinking like the people in line to get the food,
No.
or like you're talking about the actual food.
No, Ronald T. Chipotle.
Okay. The founder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a cute little moment where they call Uhura Ensign, and Singh's like, "Oh, Ensign,
Yeah.
I guess things happen when I'm away. Yeah, don't leave, girl." Chapel and Mbenga, they run into Oriana, who was the little girl that Singh went to help find her parents.
Which autocorrect changed to Otis for some reason.
Oriana will now be known as Otis.
Otis.
But Otis's parents are mad sick. They've got some type of photon radiation poisoning.
Yeah. So there was an explosion, and half the town got sick with ion radiation, or what it ends up being is photon torpedo sickness, and
Which may be the coolest sounding sickness you can get.
oh yeah.
It got me some. And when you're like, hold on, I'm gonna sneeze. I got photon radiation sickness. Excuse me.
You put that on the board just for that, Jim.
I did. I put that on the board before we watched this episode.
Okay. All right. Hey. Props.
Sorry, I got to get this cleared up. Hopefully, Nurse Chapel walks in with the good stuff.
Hyposprays are such a mind fuck to me because like,
What? Why?
they are so crazy. Like she gives her the hypospray or Mbenga gives her the hypospray, I think. And he's like, you'll be fine in a day. And I'm like, God, imagine if you had any sickness at all and somebody comes in and gives you a painless spray in the neck, and they're like, you'll be fine in one day.
Is it
like,
an injection in the neck?
yeah, but you don't feel it.
Okay.
From like, aside from the one injection that Chapel gave in the first episode of the first season where she's like, this is going to hurt. Nobody ever seems to have any reaction to being sprayed.
Yeah.
So
There's
it's
no
just such a
wincing or-
mind fuck because I'm like, God, like I want that so bad.
I know.
Like any sickness that you would have could be cured by this painless thing that just goes into your neck within an instant.
And that's
it's amazing.
that's part of the reason why, like, I think Star Trek is so attractive to a lot of people because it represents a future of like, this is the best that humanity can be. We've got awesome medicine that can cure practically anything. We can teleport places.
Money means nothing.
Money means nothing. Just the merits of your personal character count.
Right.
And usually it's like a pretty progressive show where it's like, hey, let's be super chill to each other just because we're human beings and also terrestrial beings that have a soul.
I mean, there are people out there who don't want to play nice, and that provides good
foils.
Conflict. But overall, humans figured out their shit and stopped fighting each other for the most part. And
dude, I would kill for a transporter.
I know.
Oh no, actually, I would commit a genocide for the thing that makes your food, the replicators.
Yeah. Well, because you can make
I wouldn't commit a
anything.
genocide. I'm sorry. Maybe that's a too heavy of a price to pay for having cheeseburgers whenever I want.
Yeah. No.
What would you do for a replicator?
Genocide?
Would you kill a man? So while they're administering the good stuff to Otis's parents, a very red Klingon shows up with some muscle, and they're like, "Hey, are you medical? Are you coming with us? We got some people we want you to look at."
Yeah.
She didn't sound like that.
No.
But I wanted to give her a voice.
Yeah. Right.
I couldn't remember what she sounded like.
Right.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say the next scene, La'an's doing a arms deal with Greynax, and she strong arms him into paying double for half the guns.
That's good business.
That's some like Ferengi shit right there. Seriously, it was good.
Is that some Lieutenant Singh shit right there?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. Sure. And then one thing I noticed, the case she has them in, I'm pretty sure it's the same case that I use for my equipment when I go on a job.
That's when you store your cameras.
Yeah.
Do you keep any thermal detonators in there? That's not what she had, but that's like all I could call it.
No. Not yet. I'm working up to it, though.
Do you ever bring that case into a shoot and you're like, I took 4 pictures, and they're like, that's less than half than you promised us. And you're like, yep, and I'm charging double.
Yeah, right.
You should do that thing. I took 4 pictures.
It's not even worth it. Love it.
But they know they're up to no good.
Yeah.
Whatever they are planning, it's happening tomorrow, but they need solid proof
Yeah.
that something is happening, because Spock doesn't want to call the Admiral without that solid proof, because he's going to get dressed down.
He's already in trouble for stealing the Enterprise.
Yeah.
So
the new teleporter operator, what's their
Jay.
name? Chief J?
Chief J
realizes that Chapel and Mbenga's signal has gone missing, and
Yeah.
they don't know where they are.
Yeah.
And we go to them, and they have been led by the Klingon and her goons to this underground base
Yeah.
where they have
a Federation ship.
gasp, those ne'er-do-wells. How could they? But you know what? You know who aren't ne'er-do-wells? The super patrons who support this very show. Phil, we have a Patreon. Did you know that? You're one of them.
Yeah.
These people I'm about to name are super Patreon supporters. They are supporters who contribute to the show $25 and up a month. Can you imagine? It's a lot. We want to thank, of course, everyone who's a patron of the show, but these are the super Patreon supporters who are producing this episode for the month of June. Thank you to Chester Copperpot, Stanton Valentino, Svento7, Jaron Bowers, Jenny, AK, Ashley Ray, Alan Tomlinson, Wendy O'Laughlin, Jason Hawkins, Trey Barrera, Conrad, David Malfara, Kaylee Sampson, Rabid Dog and a Barbie Car, the best name, Jose Ruben Cruz Rodriguez, Alexis Adler, Thomas Alexander, Emmy, Joe Velez, Valerie, Aaron Layton, John Collins, Amanda King, sorry, Amanda, Sun Loving Mortal, Andrew Gray, Jadinklage Morgoon, Jen Robinson, Kate, Chloe Richardson, Kalisha Reeves, Kiki Newton, Kevin Strother, Jeanette Murphy, Casey McCain, and Enza.
What's up, Enza?
What up, girl? How you living? I don't know why Enza puts up with us. So we go on to that ship. I assume they're on the Starfleet ship that's underground, and Mbenga is treating the wounded. They are suffering the same sort of photon
burns,
sickness. Yeah, there's a lot of people. Oh, I hit the wrong button. There's a lot of people going.
Yep.
It's just
Yep.
that's how you know you got the photon sickness, right?
And Mbenga sort of inadvertently reveals that he's a seasoned war veteran from the Klingon War, which we didn't know about.
Both, right?
Yeah. And he's sort of having some flashbacks, some PTSD from this whole sickbay situation. Get some flack from a Klingon in there.
How
Klingon
dare
gives him
you
some
operate
shit.
on me and make me feel better?
Yeah.
Tell me, how have you helped Klingons in the past?
And then essentially Chapel's like, hey, man, are you okay? He's like, yes. No, I'm not okay, but like I'm in control of my emotions right now. So I'll be fine. Yeah. But we got to get out of here. And the only way to do it is with this special vial. And they load these vials into their hypo sprays. And
you sure you want to do this?
Yeah.
They inject themselves with the green stuff.
Yeah.
At first, I thought they were just getting high. You know, they're in a pretty awful situation.
Yeah.
Might as well just have some fun. But no, they're getting on the gear, Phil. They're juicing. They're roiding out.
Yeah.
What is this spray? What is this juice?
Popeye spinach? I don't know. I honestly don't know. They take it and immediately start Bruce Leeing
Just
every Klingon on the ship.
Just beating ass all up and down this ship.
Now, I've got some thoughts about this scene.
Yeah? Let me hear them.
I don't much care for this like limitless pill that they take and turn doctors into a River Tam from Firefly type person. I didn't care for this as much. I thought it was sort of a Deus Ex Machina just to get them into the next scene. Mm-hmm. And they're like, how do we do it that makes sense? And they're like, well, let's just have them beat the crew up.
Yeah.
And during the course of the beating up of the crew, M'Benga essentially Christian Bale Batman's a guy into telling him that there are 30 people on the bridge and in engineering. So they know how many they have to get through at this point to get through the ship, and they keep doing it. They keep beating up Klingon after Klingon after Klingon.
Isn't it that he tells them there's like 30 dudes on the bridge, but they're like, oh, but we can go to deck 13 and do the transponder trick, so we don't have to fight those 30 people.
Right.
But I agree with you. I didn't care. I didn't care for the doctors beating people up because I know they're trying to make they're giving him M'Benga some backstory of like being this war veteran, because in the last season he was just the cool, very nice
with a tragic story about his daughter.
With a tragic daughter's backstory. But now they're adding in this other wrinkle where he's a hardened war veteran.
I like that part of it.
I like that on paper, but I just don't like this presentation of like let's juice up, and we can fight off like 50 Klingons, and the fight choreography itself wasn't even that special to write home. Like, it's not bad, but it's nothing to write home about, and it's filmed in sort of like this uninspired slow motion sequence that didn't really add anything to it. It would have been better if they were just like, they're just John Wicking everybody in that room, right?
I mean, they were, but it was.
But John Wick is fast. So if they were doing like full speed fast stuff, it'd look more impressive. To me, it struck as like, hey, we're going to shoot this in slow motion because it'll look like they're actually doing this stuff, but they're probably doing it in like 3/4 speed in real life.
But when you slow clap a guy's ears, it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look good.
You ever had your ears clapped, Phil?
Truth be told, no.
It probably would hurt.
Probably.
Come here. Take your take your headphones off. We're going to try something.
But this was the only part of the episode where I rolled my eyes a bit. I was like, come on. Like, I know what they're trying to do, and I can get past it. Like, it didn't ruin the episode, but this was the only part where I'm like, I don't want my doctors to be Bruce Lee. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Because Chapel takes out in the Captain Angel episode from season 1, she does some fighting in that, but she doesn't juice up beforehand. She
was all natural.
Yeah.
She's clean.
And I liked that. I thought that like fit her.
They were like, hey, let's be a Russian Olympics team. Let's beat some ass.
Wear leather and dark, and then we're gonna take out a bunch of
they're
Klingons. Like,
they're Klingons. It's like, if it'd be one thing if they're just like wrecking through like a ship of Ferengi, which honestly that'd be hilarious to watch.
They wouldn't need to juice for
no. But the fact that they're juicing, and it's a weird thing to add to Star Trek.
Yeah, well, it's
kind of comes out of nowhere
because Una got court-martialed for essentially being genetically modified, and here you've got the two doctors intentionally juicing themselves to get through an army of Klingons on this ship. I don't know. It wasn't the strongest moment of the episode.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So they get to the transponder. M'Benga's sending a message. Chapel's gonna kick some more acid, buy him a minute. There was a really neat kind of shot where they
transition.
There was a transition where they open up the floor and the camera goes upside down with them as they fall in. It's a little unnecessary, sure, but it was pretty cool. Like, it was my favorite camera work of the episode was that shot.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Very interesting. The juice is running out though. It's not loose. The juice is running out. Chapel's in danger. She's kind of wearing down, and M'Benga comes to save her. But this is when he boxes the dude's ears. But they go into an airlock and close it and seal it behind them.
And then they see the ship is rising.
Rise. So the ship is coming out of the little cave that they're in underground. A Klingon vessel warps into the space.
Yeah.
We both mistook it for a bird of prey at first.
Yeah, we messed that up.
We're like, oh, it's a bird of prey.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. That's a Romulan thing.
Yeah.
I didn't notice this when they first got to the planet, but it's this cool like Earth looking planet, but it has like these vibrant red rings around it.
Yeah.
I thought that was such a cool, that visually
Super cool,
very neat. But Ortega's in the ring. She's kind of hiding from the Klingon vessel. Singh contacts them, and as she's talking to them about like, hey, whatever's happening is going to happen soon, the ship explodes out of the ground and flies into space. And Ortega's calls it it was Mitchell. Mitchell calls it a crossfield class.
Yes,
Starfleet
that is
vessel.
the same class of ship as the Disco from Discovery. Yeah, same class of ship.
I thought the Disco ship. Oh, I'm thinking of the Defiant.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, that's what I'm thinking of. But it's emitting a code. Uhura picks up a code that this vessel, the crossfield vessel, is emitting. It says Enterprise, destroy this
false
ship.
flag.
Yeah. So, and then I do love that Spock like immediately pieces together and kind of walks everyone through what's going on. Like, if everyone is not nearly as smart as me, let me explain it to you what is happening currently right now.
Yeah.
He's got it all figured out. They're going to follow the ship, but don't let the the Klingon vessel know we're there.
And most importantly, they need to destroy it, but they can't because M'Benga and Chapel could potentially be on that ship.
Yeah.
So they need to like figure out what their next course of action is. Because if they didn't have any reservations about blowing it up, they could just go straight to it and just.
Yeah. Because that vessel.
Can I get a button?
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you. I like your little.
Yeah.
But yeah, so M'Benga and Chapel are trying to figure out how they can escape. They assume that, hey, they're probably going to blow us up any minute.
Yeah.
They find a helmet with a beacon on it, but also an attitude jet to help them kind of maneuver in space. But there's no like actual EV suit. So their plan is to jettison themselves out into space with no protection. It'll kill them in a minute, but they'll pass out in 10 seconds. So that's a kind mercy, I guess.
Yeah.
There's some cool ship stuff where they're chasing the ship through the rings of the planet.
The CGI in this part specifically just blew my mind.
Yeah.
I was just, God, it looked so good.
And it's also mixed with some more cool camera angles where they're spinning
So cool.
the bridge crew in like a 360. So it really sells that they're doing all these hard banking maneuvers in space. It's very neat.
I live for those moments. I love it. I love it so much. It's so cool. So I watched this episode twice, once this morning when I woke up, then once with you. And both times I geeked out both times because it's so cool.
Just sitting in M'Benga and Chapel kind of have a moment before they jump out into space.
Yeah.
She says, I can't believe this is how we're going to die. He says, we've gotten out of worse. And she replies, not really.
Yeah.
This kind of sucks.
Yeah.
This is pretty awful. We're about to go into space.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to be there.
They sort of accept their fates. Like they have no other choice.
Yeah. And poor Spock, who, is very emotionally attached to Nurse Chapel.
Yeah.
He doesn't really show it in the moment. Like, I mean, you can tell, like, we know Spock.
Yeah.
So because we're so intimate with this character, we know that he's being torn up inside by having to give the order to blow up, his crew member and this person that he cares a lot about.
Yeah.
But also he needs to do it so that another war doesn't ignite. Right.
Right.
But eventually he does order the torpedoes to be fired. He looks very upset, and it's all it took. That ship is a glass cannon.
I mean, they hit it with, I think, 2 torpedoes, and it just instantly poof. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have time to install shields on that thing.
No, that ship was
Shields are
done.
for Batak.
Yeah. Thankfully, though, M'Benga and Chapel got away, and as soon as they
Uhura
leave
picks up
the
the
ship,
beacon.
their EV suits give off the signal that they're in space, and they transport. Now, here's the thing. Here's one thing I didn't catch the first time
Oh.
that I caught the second time. Spock's on the bridge, right?
Yeah.
She's like, we picked up these signals. He's like, beam them on right now. And she's like, okay. They beam on, and Spock's right there in the transporter room. How the fuck did Spock get down there that fast? How did it, how much time elapsed? Because in the show, it looks like Chapel and M'Benga get beamed on, and Spock's like, boom, right there, and doesn't even like pay M'Benga any attention at all.
He's awake, he's conscious, and also like
Chapel is there. Yeah, right.
My girl.
But I was just like, I don't think they have like site to site transport yet on this Enterprise. Maybe I'm wrong, but
yeah, because that's something that later treks have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of like,
I was like, how the hell did he get down there that fast? Because the transporter room's not, as far as I know, not right by the bridge.
yeah.
So maybe I'm wrong.
Is it like a situation where he's like, beam them up now? And they're like, yes, sir. Would you like? Oh, he's gone.
He's in the turbo lift down
Holy shit.
to the transporter room.
Just like pushing ensigns out of his way.
I didn't know how he got down there that fast, but
that's a good point.
Maybe there's a logical answer that I'm missing. I don't know. So
well, as a great man once said, fascinating.
Yeah. So
but Spock performs space CPR on Chapel. He says, I waited for you. You do not die.
Yeah.
And M'Benga smiles when she comes back to life because he knows.
Yeah.
That dude knows.
Yeah.
He's seen love happen before his eyes. He's seen war. He's seen death. But he's seen love.
Yes.
And he knows what it looks like. And it has pointy ears.
Yeah. Yep.
We do have a single Vulcan tear from Spock as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever done that?
Just one tear?
Yeah. Single tear.
I saw a man throw a piece of trash out of his window the other day.
Oh, you did?
And I had to stop my car and stare into the middle distance. That's one single tear.
I'm glad you did the responsible thing and pulled over so you can have this
I'm not
emotional
an animal.
moment.
Come on.
We advocate for safe
I'm
driving
not unsafe.
Yeah.
But I was affected.
Yeah. It's terrible. The captain of the Klingon vessel, T'Chak, calls Spock to cover your and pretty much says like, he's doing his chest beating Klingon thing.
Shit.
Like, you destroyed your own vessel to cover your own failure to our superior might. And he's like, Spock's like, no, you.
And T'Chak's like, face me man to man. And Spock's like, all right.
I want this like somewhat awkward interaction. Okay.
All right.
What's that bit that Pete Davidson used to do on SNL where he's like just basically that dude and it's like women for whatever reason loves him. Like, oh my God, you're so hot. Okay. Have you not seen that?
I don't know.
They're pretty funny bits. They're one of Pete Davidson's probably best bits. But so he's like, I want to meet you face to face. And Spock says, hey, let's continue this conversation over a barrel of blood wine.
Come on down to Fajita. We're gonna have some beers.
Blood wine night at Fajitas.
Yeah. And then I love this cut because they're jawing at each other over FaceTime. Cut to the surface, and they're like bros. Like,
yeah, oh man,
instantly bros.
They get along famously.
T'Chak's like, you're all right. You're okay in my book. Like, you're drinking my Klingon wine. You're having a good time. You are not a Vulcan to me. Like, you might be genetically a Vulcan, but you're not a Vulcan.
Yeah.
So
I just love the small interactions here because like they clink their little grogs of blood wine and like, but ka-cha! And like and Spock goes, indeed. It's so
and
good.
then he gives two like like in a very subdued Spock way, like trying to really give it his all, but still being Spock.
We're witnessing Spock at an 11.
Oh, love it, love it.
And the Klingons fucking love it.
Oh, they love it. They eat that shit up.
You know, when those Klingons are like 90 something years old, they're gonna be talking to their grandkids like, dude, this Vulcan man, this guy was wild.
And then Spock's like, you know what? I should probably check on Inspector Peolia over at the bar because my blood is boil, or what was the phrase? Pelia says like, "Hey, my Klingon's a bit rusty, but did he say your blood?
May your blood
was
scream."
Yeah, may your blood scream. Yeah. And he's like, "I understand the phrase right now," because he's fully drunk. And then she reveals that
she knew his mom.
She knew his mom. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, she kind of revealed that earlier, but she kind of goes more into the relationship here.
Mm-hmm. When she came out as a Lanthanite, she was one of the first people that she told was Spock's mom.
Yeah.
And then she's like, can I hang with you guys? Like, I'm bored. Like, I want to hang.
Oh, I love how she's like, you know what the worst thing about living forever is? Spock's like, seeing the death of those you love.
Yeah.
No, it's the boredom. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm so bored all the time.
And then Pelia joins their party.
Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't want to join the Enterprise? That seems like a great gig.
Well, La'an left, so her. But then she comes back.
She came back.
Because Otis rejoins her on Fajita, and she's like, so what are you going to do next? And La'an's like, I think I'm going to essentially, like, she doesn't outright say it, but it's implied. Like,
yeah. She's coming back.
She's back.
She wants to see how Uhura became an ensign.
Yeah.
She hated missing that moment out.
Right.
So yeah, to the Vulcan, who acts nothing like a Vulcan, they do some more, you know, huzzas. We cut. There's one last Spock going, yeah. Admiral April yells at Spock over FaceTime and realizes that Spock is hungover. Because Spock's like, Admiral, can you please lower the volume of your voice? He says he followed his gut. Sorry for, you know, not listening to orders, but we stopped a war.
Yeah.
I'll accept any punishment you have. And he's like, well, that Klingon hangover is going to be enough punishment for you.
Yeah. Dude stole the flagship of the fleet. And he's like, the Klingon hangover you have right now is enough.
You know, he should have just put some Mio and water in that blood wine. And he would have been good.
Yeah. Right.
No hangovers. Shit. If you can't do that, I can't talk. So we cut to Spock, who's in the medical center. He's visiting Nurse Chapel.
Yeah.
He's a sad boy. Mbenga sees him being a sad boy, and he tells Mbenga that he has no words for what he feels right now.
Spock caught those feelings and can't put them into words.
What a tragedy.
Poor Spock.
What, so like he has this pain in his heart, the sadness. He has no words for it. So he, of course, does what everyone would do. He goes back to his room. He picks up his space loot, and he says, hey, this one's Wonderwall.
And then he continues.
Today is gonna be.
No, but then we find out the reason why Robert A. Pearl did not punish Spock. It's because he's one of their best, and they're going to need their best. Because what he sees on that conference room table,
big open conference room,
that big open conference room, is there's a Gorn ship. Detected.
The
Gorn, as we've established in season 1, are a very, very formidable foe.
Yeah, they're basically like the lizard from Spider-Man, but more deadly.
Yes. Yeah.
Where my nerds at?
Yeah.
They're just like I just love how the Gorn have gone from like that comical rubber suited dinosaur alien that Kirk fought in the original series. And it's like a famously bad choreographed, like people watch all the time for laughs because it's funny to watch. I love that the show is able to take that species and make it like a very sleek, serpentine, like scary lizard. And they like put eggs in people before they kill them and stuff. It's like horrifying stuff.
Yeah. It's bad.
So I'm excited. Are you excited for the Gorn War?
Yes and no. The thing about the Gorn is we've only seen baby Gorn, and baby Gorn are very like animalistic. Mm-hmm. So I don't really understand how like a extremely hostile species can essentially master like
space
travel and like be organized and like together enough to like have a fleet. So it's kind of like the Reavers in Firefly.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, how does this race of like men who lost their mind at the fringes of space, like organize
rage
enough
monsters.
to have, I see the Gorn like that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm completely wrong. Like I'd like to be wrong.
What if they just have a nice like wine glass of blood wine and they're just reading their books on their battleships like, who are we going to take out today?
Yes. Yeah, like a more refined Borg.
So what are your overall thoughts on the episode itself?
I thought it was great. I think the interesting thing about this specific episode is they really bring back like a major plot point from Disco. Like the Klingon War was the whole first season, and they brought that back like in a big way here.
Yeah,
which I was surprised to see. Like, man, they are really like. They even showed footage from Disco season 2 in this episode. It's like, damn, like they are really going hard on this, and I appreciated that. So I thought it was really cool that they dipped into that. I also think it's a really good start to season 2. I think it like sets the tone. Like this is obviously going to be more of the Strange New Worlds you love, but like ratcheted up a few notches. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that assessment. I think it is a very bold choice to have the first episode of season 2 feature hardly any Captain Pike. Like he's not in this at all.
No.
Which is, that's your captain.
He's in the first scene.
He's in the first scene. He's like, I'm going to go hang out for 3. So I wonder if next week's episode, it's just going to be like what he's doing with Una at the same exact time. And it's going to be like the Pike and Una show.
Right.
And then maybe like at the end of the episode, they'll rejoin everybody else.
Right.
We'll see if that happens next week. Well, Phil, we have a couple segments.
Yeah.
For the rest of Strange New Worlds. Other listeners of our other coverage know that we do a bunch of different fun little segments at the end of the recaps, and we got 3 of them for you.
Yeah.
First one is what we're calling Acting Captain. Now, if you know, we like to give praise to actors and actresses who really stand head and shoulders above the pack. So we are awarding the title of Acting Captain to each episode's best actor or actress of the episode. So Phil, who is your acting captain for this week?
I think it's easy. I think it's easy to say Spock because Spock is so prominently featured, and he does do a tremendous job. Ethan Peck does a tremendous job playing that emotionally affected Spock. But the one I was surprised most by was M'Benga.
Babs?
I think he did a really good job in this episode. Like the whole Klingon War, like being a veteran of that. I didn't expect that. So I'm really interested to see like where it goes. And like aside from the goofy like Popeye spinach vial, they hype a spray into their necks, then take out the whole ship. Aside from that specific scene, I thought and then like his moment with Chapel right before they like jump out the airlock too. Like every scene that he's in is just great. He nails it in every scene he's in. And I wanted to give it to him because I think he sort of surprised me the most.
Yeah, I think that's a very good call. That dude always brings a lot of pathos to his roles. Like even if he's just like, I'm going to give you a hypo spray, like you're like, oh man, I feel some emotion off that. He just has the best voice in the history of people with voices.
Yeah.
That's a good pick.
Yeah.
My acting captain is actually the acting captain of this episode. It's Spock. Ethan Peck.
Yeah.
I just love what that guy does with the character of Spock. It's such a hard, it's hard shoes to fill, but he's been filling those shoes for years now. He started in season 2 of Discovery, and now he's here in season 2 of Strange New Worlds. He's still kicking ass and taking names, and somehow still manages to be funny with the character, but also open up new sides to the character emotionally that we've never seen before. But it's still able to kind of stay true to the character of being Vulcan.
Yeah.
Very, very difficult wire act to manage.
Yeah.
That brings us to our next segment. This is okay. Listener, we need your help with this one.
Yeah.
So this segment is our favorite moment of the show. We're not telling you our top 3 favorite, which is something we do in other forms of coverage we do on streaming things. This is our favorite moment of the show. These are moments that boldly went where no moment has gone before in the episode. But we couldn't come up with a fun title. Like Phil and I sat here for like a half hour just pitching segment titles, and we couldn't find one we really, really liked.
Yeah.
So if you guys have a fun Star Trek Strange New World specific theme for this title, please send it in and let us know. Because we were coming up with some good Star Trek titles, but they were like Star Trek, TNG. Like we had
from other series.
We had like iconic moments, which is great.
Yeah.
But that's not really Strange New World. So we're looking for Strange New World specific titles. So if you have one, write it in, let us know, and maybe we'll use it on the show later.
Yeah.
Phil, what was your favorite moment of the show? This episode?
Thinking back on it, I think honestly my favorite moment was that cut from the FaceTime on the bridge with T'Chak to them clinking glasses of blood wine. I just love how this really tense moment on the bridge immediately turned into like bros. Their bromance on the planet's surface immediately after that was whiplash, but like in the best way. And I love that. And when I think back on the episode, having watched it twice now, for some reason that's the specific scene that I keep coming back to because I love fun. And that was like so much fun in that moment, like seeing Spock in a way that you're not used to seeing him, and also seeing Klingons in a way you do remember them in such a vivid, fun way. And it was just like that whole scene was for me my moment.
Fun party Klingons are the best Klingons.
What about you?
So I almost put that one down. But I'm going to go with the, what's your thing, Spock, that scene. Because that's such a fun little meta commentary on the series as a whole. Yeah. You get some really fun other examples of what other like Zoom, like just
I want to know more about that captain.
Just knowing there's a captain out there that says Zoom before they warp anywhere.
Terrible.
I hope we meet them.
Yeah.
I really hope we meet them one day. But and then the way they build up the drama of Spock finally revealing what his quote unquote thing is.
Which is let's shag ass, I believe it was.
Let's shag ass. Is going. It makes me wish they put that scene in the trailer for season 2, and I kind of wish they didn't because even though it hits in the trailer too, imagine if we didn't see that. We watched the episode the first time, like how I would still be on the floor laughing right now. That was good. So good. Yeah. So good. And well, Phil, before we move on, we have one final segment. Maybe we'll have this every week. It really depends on you, the listener. We're going to open up our comms to see if we have any messages coming in from other Starfleet operatives on the Discord. Let's open up the comms right now. Our first question comes in from moderator of our Discord, Jordan-esque.
Okay.
Jordan writes, what storyline from season 1 are you most eager to explore in season 2?
Captain Angel.
Captain Angel. I
loved that episode. I thought it was so much fun. I know Captain Angel's coming back. It's I don't know when, but at some point they'll be back. So I can't wait. That is one that really stuck with me. I think like the Orion ship that you're introduced to in that episode and how they stage the mutiny of the ship and then Captain Angel escaping at the end. It was just so much fun. And that character specifically is so arch and over the top and fun, and I just want to see more. So, yeah.
Well, hopefully we get to see them. Yeah. For me, you might make fun of me for this.
Are you gonna say Elysium Kingdom?
No.
Okay.
Although I kind of want that too. But being honest, that wasn't what I was gonna say, but yes, that.
Yeah.
I just want to see Nurse Chapel and Spock hook up. That's all I want.
Jeez.
I want it. Give it to me. Give me what I want. I love love. Everyone knows that about me. I love love.
Yeah.
They have great chemistry. Fuck T'Pring. She can kick rocks.
Oh, poor T'Pring.
I'm being too harsh on T'Pring. She's a nice lady, but is she nice for Spock? I don't know.
We'll see.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Our next question comes in from Joey.
Yeah.
Joey writes, how many drinks would it take for you to hook up with Captain Pike? That is a straightforward.
We talking blood wine or?
Are we doing the do? What drink we talking about here?
Jeez.
I have my answer.
How many?
Zero.
Zero?
That man comes at me and he's like, hey, why don't you come over to the captain's quarters? I'll cook you a meal.
Spaghetti?
I'll cook you some spaghetti.
He makes you spaghetti.
I'll pull out the space lute and play, what was that song? Scat Cat? What?
Nightbird.
Nightbird.
Scat Cat.
With that, if he's coming at me with that perfect coiffed hair, I'll be like, yes, sir. Beam me up.
I guess the question I have is, am I a part of his crew?
Oh, you don't want to sharp issue?
I don't shit where I eat. Okay. That's all I'm saying. If I'm not a part of the crew, I'll fuck him.
Okay.
But if I'm part of his crew, like, I like to keep it professional.
That's fair. That's fair. Honestly, that's why you're a good first officer. Yeah. Wow, what a great way to start our coverage.
Joey.
Yeah, thanks, Joey. Asking the real questions.
Yeah.
What a great way to start.
I don't ship Spock and Chapel. I ship Steve and Pike specifically.
Oh,
so
Stike. Peeve. Is that our celebrity name? Oh my gosh.
Peeve.
Guys, write to the Paramount Plus people. We ship Peeve. Make it so. Zoom. Let's do it.
Let's shag ass.
Let's shag that ass. Hit it. I'd hit it.
Thanks, Joey.
Oh my gosh. Well, Phil, thank you so much for engaging.
Weird way to end this one.
You know, this is the only way it could have ended, to be honest.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
But thank you so much for taking time out of your busy week to not only do the show with me, but watch Star Trek with me.
You're doing 5 shows right now. I'm not the busy one here.
I know, but you got a life. I don't. I live on these airwaves.
Oh.
Don't awe me. I love it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
But no, like, this has been really fun because,
same.
Just sitting on the couch with you tonight and watching Star Trek.
Yeah.
It brought me back. It brought me back to
taking notes the whole time.
Oh, did you like the clickety clack of my keyboard the entire time?
I'm going to bring mine next time so we can.
Yeah, you were on your phone. You were taking them on your phone. That had to have been hard.
It was hard, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was my second time, so it didn't have to take that many.
You knew what you had to write.
Yeah.
But it brought me back to a time when we would be hanging out on my couch at my old house when we were like teenagers watching Serenity or Firefly or anything else like that.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
Good time.
Same. Yep.
Well, listener, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Streaming Things. If you would like to be a part of the show, maybe write in how much you ship Peeve or Chockle. What are we calling Chapel Spock?
Shit, it was on Chepak or Spapple.
Yeah, let us know who you ship. Is it Uhura and I don't know, Ortegas? I'd ship that. Hell yeah. I just let people fuck. But let us know who you ship. You can let us know by writing in at streamingthingspod@gmail.com. That is our email that you can send us anything, really. You can follow us on Twitter at streamthingpod. Follow us on Instagram. Dude, everything happens on Instagram for the show. It's streamthingspod official. Go and follow us there for some great content. We're always posting reels and all sorts of fun stuff. You could also become a member of our Discord and interact with us directly there. You do that by signing up on Patreon. That's patreon.com/streamingthings, where you can sign up for a variety of tiers. The Discord tier is the $10 and above. But if you would like bonus episodes, you can do that by the $5 and above. Currently, We have a poll on Patreon to decide the bonus episode for the month of June. Because it is Pride Month, we have a Pride-themed poll going on right now where you can choose between, let me bring up the options right now. You can choose between Lizzie from 2018, The Birdcage, Shiva Baby, and Brokeback Mountain. So go on to patreon.com, vote on which one of those you would like for us to cover, and then we will cover the winner, and you can listen to that, but only on Patreon. Thank you guys so much for watching Streamy Things. My name is Steve.
I'm Phil.
Let's shag ass. Gorn is those are the bad guys, right?
Gorn,
for the series. Gorn.
Going
to be stupid.
I was not expecting Weird Al to pop in here. Going to be stupid. It's funny because Gorn doesn't sound like the word dare. So it's, I don't know why. I think you meant born to be stupid.
Yeah.
But
it's dare to be stupid.
It's dare to be
song.
stupid.
Yeah.
Dare to be stupid.
Dare to be stupid.